She pulled her baby closer to her chest, trying to decide whether she should walk into the darkness or towards the house. Something moved in the corner of her eye. Near one of the small trees sat a dog, or a coyote, on its haunches, regarding her with a calm but unsettling stare. She turned towards it, taking in its size. Its form was bigger than she expected, surely larger than any coyote. But it wasn't its size that stopped Anna's breath. It was its strange, human-like face, flat and white, full of depth and understanding no animal could possess. She took a step forward and screamed at the animal, but it did not falter. Her baby howled now, surely sensing her unease. The dog cocked its oddly shaped head at the sound of the baby, then stood up, not on all fours as Anna expected, but on two strong, furry legs with knees that bent backwards. It started towards her, and she ran. Scrambling down the road, she was certain that anything under the house's roof would be better than this abomination from hell. A kind of garbled crack sounded behind her, like a bone breaking underwater. Glancing back, she saw the creature was on all fours now, its limbs more canine, even as its face remained wrong. Anna shrieked and stumbled down to one knee, stopping just short of smashing her baby into the ground. Up in an instant, she rushed forward. The house sat only a few feet away. She could see the wooden steps, could feel the warm glow of the lights on her face, even as she felt the dog gaining on her, nipping at her heels. She whispered a prayer and stretched her legs as far as they would go, advancing towards safety with every hurried step. Then it was gone. She didn't see it disappear, but she could tell it was no longer there. Stopping at the bottom of the steps, she turned to make sure. She jumped as a near-silent owl barreled towards her face, letting out a piercing screech. As she cradled her baby tighter, it crested the peak of the roof and disappeared into the desert night. The gravel road stretched back towards the highway, eerily desolate. Anna tried to catch her breath, her heart beating against the soft skin of her baby. Tears streamed down her cheeks, her chest filled with dread at the prospect of whoever lived on the other side of this house's front door. She had no choice, though. She needed shelter from the terrors of the desert. Mustering her resolve, Anna slowly ascended the steps towards an empty porch. An old beat-up swing hung silent and frozen in the still air. The window and the door had no coverings, giving her an unfettered view into a cozy but rustic cabin, peppered with olive and mustard furniture. The mounted head of a buck stared at her from above the fireplace. Shushing her baby, Anna raised a free hand to knock on the door, but before her knuckles met the hard wood, the door slid open with a creak. A man stood in the doorway, his elongated frame swallowing the light behind him and bathing Anna in shadow. She craned her neck, regarding him with dark brown eyes. Though she couldn't make out all of his features, she could see a thin graying mustache and old, kind eyes. His lips curled up into a welcoming smile as he widened his arms. "Ana Maria, bienvenida. Estoy tan contento de que hayas llegado." His voice sounded familiar, though she didn't recognize his silhouette. Still, she felt safe, as if this old man could protect her from the horrors of the world. She stepped into his arms, and he embraced her like family, careful to give the baby room to breathe. He stroked the back of her head. "It's okay, dear. Everything will be fine." She barely knew English, only understanding the word okay, but the tone of his voice felt genuine. He backed away from the hug and stepped aside. "Ven, rápida. It's not safe out at this hour." Reluctant, Anna carried her baby across the threshold of the mysterious house and into a new life.